Hey guys, Coach Dan Hammer Tennis. In today's video, we're going to be talking a little bit deeper about some of the concepts that make up the hammer tennis method. And specifically in this video, we're going to be talking about the distinction between leverage and momentum. Now don't get me wrong, we're going to be using momentum in our shots, but we need to understand how the leverage force is applied and the momentum force are applied. So that way when we use the two together, we're going to be able to create an efficient, powerful stroke. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button for me and hit that bell notification. That way you're getting notified of all the new hammer tennis videos that are coming out. So let's get to it. All right guys, so what exactly is momentum? So momentum is the weight of the object times how fast it's moving is going to equal the force that that object's going to put into another object. And so leverage is the length of your lever. So you have an input force, an output force, and that's determined by the placement of the fulcrum. So the longer the input side of the lever is, the more concentrated, the more powerful the output side of the lever is going to be. And so when we swing, we want to try to create a fulcrum point that's as close to the ball as possible so we get a lot of power out of our racket into the ball. And so I think it helps to demonstrate some of these principles with, I got just a golf shaft here, and so I've got this giant ball into this cart, and so what this does is it makes a very heavy object. So part of the problem is when you're teaching someone to play tennis is the tennis ball itself is not very heavy. And so you give them a racket, they swing it, it creates a decent amount of speed. So the mass of the racket times that speed equals a pretty decent amount of force. It's a greater force than that weight of that tennis ball, so it's going to make that ball move. So they just kind of swing the racket, they're going to hit the ball's going to move. However, a lot of times, most players, the faster that they swing the racket, the harder it is for them to control the angle of the racket, the face of the racket, the spin, and so they start missing shots and they start getting frustrated. So leverage, again, is not dependent upon a speed. Leverage is dependent upon a length and the placement of a fulcrum. So by using leverage, you can swing slower but still create a decent amount of force into the ball. And so by swinging a little bit slower at first, you can learn how to create that leverage force, and then as you get better with the leverage force, then we increase the speed of our stroke, and so then we incorporate the momentum back into the shot, and we create a very powerful stroke that we use the momentum and the leverage together to hit the ball efficiently and powerful. So I'm going to demonstrate a couple principles here on this ball. And so the first thing I'm going to do is, again, this is a pretty light golf shaft, and there's nothing at the end of this. The head's been removed. And so you can hear how it whips around. It moves pretty fast. Probably can't even see it swinging. This ball, because I've got a large ball and I've strapped it in here to this old cart, this weighs significantly more than this golf shaft. So if I were to just use momentum alone and I strike this ball with this golf shaft, it doesn't go anywhere. The cart barely moves. The ball, since I've got it wedged in there, it's not going to really move. It doesn't go anywhere. Now, if I take the same golf shaft and the same ball and cart, I press it here against, and I try to create a fulcrum point down here. So I'm going to try to get the golf shaft to bend close to the ball. I can easily send the ball forward and down the line. It took minimal effort, and I moved the ball in the cart. The same ball in the cart that I just swung really fast, it didn't go anywhere. So again, if I swing fast, barely even moves the whole object. If I place the golf shaft with minimal effort, I can move that cart. Now, you say, well, okay, that's because that golf shaft doesn't weigh anything. We can add lead tape to our rackets, and some players do. They find that by adding lead tape, it makes the stroke feel even better. And that's fine, because by adding lead tape to your racket, you're getting a more mass, so then the more mass times the speed equals a greater force. So if I switch this around, and now the grip end, this is a pretty heavy grip compared to the end of the golf shaft here. Now if I hit the same ball, you can see now it adds a significant amount more of power into that shot. But if I put the two together I can turn and extend. And so that's the principle that we're going to be working on in our shot. So let's take a look how that looks when we're using a racket and a real ball. All right, so now as we're trying to hit the ball, we want to create a fulcrum point that's as close to the ball as possible. So the racket is going to pry this way. And so in a leverage system, the one side goes forward, the other side goes back. So you've got two ends working opposite of each other, and they're turning around that fulcrum point. So as I do that, my racket's going to extend. I'm going to try to create a fulcrum point here. That means the handle is actually going to work backward, and it's going to work towards the target line. And as it works towards the target line, the head of the racket extends down the target line. I'm also going to be moving my shoulders, so my right shoulder is going to be working forward and towards the target line, which means my left shoulder should go backwards. And so my shoulders are going to be turning like this, and so they're going to be moving. And you can see the right shoulder is going forward, the left shoulder is going back, so my shoulders are also working like a lever. And so I'm going to put all of that together, and then as I get better, I'm going to get a little bit more racket speed, and then I'm going to put the two together. And so that's going to allow me to hit through the ball. And so by applying that leverage force and using that momentum force together, that allows me to hit the ball pretty hard with a good amount of energy and efficiently. And so by combining the leverage force and then with the momentum force, it's going to allow you to hit efficient shots. You don't have to swing out of your shoes. You're going to be able to control the ball. You're going to be able to hit more balls in the court. And that's going to make you more consistent, and that's going to help you win more points, more games, more sets, and ultimately more matches. So I'm Coach Daniel for Hammer Tennis. Again, hit that subscribe button for me if you're new to the channel. Hit that bell notification. That way you get notified of all the new videos that are coming out. If you've got any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Put those in the comments below. I try to do my best to get back with most people who have questions about the stroke and different things on there. So be sure to leave some comments for me. Look forward to hearing from you guys. Until next time, thanks for watching.